And we're learning that the building's master tenant has had previous run-ins with the law. He goes by the name of Derek Ion. He ran the Ghost Ship Artist Collective in the warehouse that went up in flames, and he is currently on probation. KPIX 5's Devin Fehely with a mixed picture of Ion from people who've known him. Devin?
Yeah, Derek Ion had been staying here at the Marriott in downtown Oakland since Friday's fire. He is a man with ardent supporters and outspoken detractors, a popular if polarizing figure who is now at the center of the investigation into the deadly fire.
Nothing to say to you.
Come on.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Tensions ran high amongst friends of Derek Ion, the charismatic, quirky, controversial leader of the so-called Ghost Ship Collective. In online videos, Ion can at times appear erratic, and in others engaging, if a bit rambling.
And farmed and built houses and grew lives.
Current and former friends say that's the essence of a man who created a cult of personality amongst the group of bohemian artists working and living in the ramshackle warehouse that was the scene of Friday's deadly fire. But court records paint a somewhat darker picture of Ion. He was charged with receiving stolen property in 2015, but pled guilty to a misdemeanor and was sentenced to 36 months probation in January of this year. His partner Micah Allison posted on Facebook around that same time in February about the couple's efforts to regain custody of their children, including parenting, anger management, and domestic violence classes, in addition to twice-weekly drug tests. Friends tell KPIX the couple's children had been removed from the home because of concerns about living conditions at the Ghost Ship, the very same conditions that firefighters say turned Friday's fire into a deadly inferno. Now, Ion had been widely criticized for a Facebook post made in the aftermath of the fire in which he lamented the loss of property rather than the loss of life. He has since said that he was not aware at the time that people had died in that fire and was not trying to be insensitive. In downtown Oakland, Devin Fehely, KPIX 5.
A woman who used to live at the Ghost Ship says it was a disaster waiting to happen. KPIX 5's Joe Vazquez continues our coverage. Joe?
We're talking about Shelly Mack, a former resident. She says the place was a dump and a death trap and that the proprietor absolutely knew it.
I would like to see the same thing happen to him that happened to these people, honestly, if you want to know my honest, because he deserved to be in that fire, not them. Because it was his fault.
Shelly Mack says the proprietor, Derek Ion, knew the Ghost Ship warehouse was dangerous. She calls it a death trap. Shelly lived there 2 years ago for 4 or 5 months, paid about $700 rent. As neat as the pictures look, Shelly says the truth is the inside of the warehouse was a mess.
There are always cords and electrical cords and wires going across it, so if you're not careful, you'll slip and fall and trip down the stairs and set whatever off because you'll be falling all over electrical cords that are going to transformers and generators. They ran gas generators in there.
Shelly says she didn't even realize the warehouse was an illegal residence until after she moved in. She says she was instructed to tell visitors it was a 24-hour workspace for artists, not a living space. She says it was very clear the warehouse was a fire hazard and that she and others raised the issue.
I spoke out and nobody did anything. And now everybody's trying to say, oh, if the police only knew, if the housing office only knew, oh gosh, if the people that had attended only knew. But people did know. They were well aware. There are records, police records, showing, that people did tell them. They just didn't do anything.
And Shelly says at one point there were half a dozen mobile homes parked inside the warehouse, inside. She also says that at one point they got electricity by illegally hooking up to one of the nearby residences. Reporting live in Oakland, Joe Vazquez, KPIX 5.